I'd had the opportunity to go to Facebook, or again, her relationship to Mr. Tolbert, she then again stated to me that she was a family friend.
I will be quiet when it is your turn to speak, and I will listen. Raise your right hands. You both solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, take your hand down. You're both sworn. Mr. Tolbert, you're here today on 19 SR 632 because your probation officer has filed paperwork with me alleging that you're out of compliance with your probation. You understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You ready to go forward with your hearing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Tolbert, I'm reading this petition. It says that you missed some report dates. Is that correct?
Is it correct that I did, or it was the
Did you miss report dates or not?
No.
You did not miss any report dates. All right, that's a denial. And that you provided 39 hours of community service work that could not be verified. Did you do that or not?
No.
Okay, that's 2 denials, which means this is now a contested hearing. And instead of an admission, I will now be making a decision after an evidentiary hearing, and I will make that decision by preponderance. Tell me a little bit about this case.
Your Honor, as to violation number 1, missed reports, Mr. Tolbert failed to report as directed on March 2nd of 2020, May 20th of 2020, June 12th of 2020, July 1st of 2020, and September 23rd of 2020. As to violation number 2, the defendant turned in, now, Your Honor, since this petition has been prepared, 49 hours of community service that I was unable to verify. When he turned the information into me, actually he turned it into Ms. Howell, and I ended up having to transfer this case to myself due to some issues in the office with Mr. Tolbert. So once I received this case, I reached out to Mr. Stevens at Waypoint, which is our community service contact there, because I had multiple red flags when he turned in this community service to me. So I contacted Mr. Stevens in an attempt to verify the community service on September the 16th. After speaking with Mr. Stevens, he's told me that he would need to reach out to Ms. Brownlee due to her signature being on the paperwork, and then he would report back to me. Mr. Stevens got back to me on that same day of September 16th and stated that Ms. Brownlee stated that that was not her signature and those hours could not be verified. Mr. Tolbert appeared in the office on September 25th. I inquired with him about the hours after he turned in an additional community service. Mr. Tolbert's statement to me was, "Come on, Miss Matthews, why you got to do all this? Why don't you just let me pay for it?" I advised Mr. Tolbert that's not what we do in these situations. Mr. Tolbert left the office. He returned sometime later on the 25th with a Jamila, and I apologize, Judge, cannot pronounce her last name. She presented me a Waypoint business card and stated that she was the one that had filled out his sheet. I explained to Miss Jamila that she was not on my approved signature sheet that we have set up with all court-approved community service locations. Ms. Jamila advised me that Ms. Brownlee had given her permission to sign her name. I advised Ms. Jamila that that is not the procedure that these organizations go through, that through their contract, they know not to do that, and that they've provided me a list of all people that they have authorized to sign. And if Ms. Jamila was on that list, she would have signed her own name. She left then, and Mr. Tolbert told me that he would see me in court with his attorney. I then reached out and went into person and sat down with Mr. Stevens on the 28th, and he had Ms. Brownlee on a phone call. Ms. Brownlee stated that she never gave Ms. Jamila the permission to sign her name. Mr. Stevens states that he has never seen Mr. Tolbert, and that we had multiple questions because prior to COVID, Waypoint was giving 4 hours per day. After COVID or during COVID, they've been giving about 2 hours a day, and most of that community service occurs on Wednesdays when Mr. Stevens is there. Mr. Tolbert never reported on a date that Mr. Stevens was there, and he has multiple dates with more than the 2 hours that people are currently getting at this time.
Okay, this hearing is significantly more involved than I initially intended. Come on through the podium there. You're going to have a seat in this front seat here. All right, Ms. Matthews. All right, so I'm sorry, Mr. Tolbert. Ms. Matthews has just testified as the first witness for the state. I'm having you come forward, sit it there, use that, no, keep your mic, keep it up.
Keep it up.
Keep it up. That's what the microphone's for. It gets really loud when you get close.
Okay.
So all the way up over your nose, all the way up over your nose. Yep, okay, don't take it off. And you may ask Ms. Matthews any questions you may have.
Well, honestly, at first, see the whole situation.
Nope, you're not listening. You may ask Ms. Matthews any questions you may have. You were starting a statement to me.
Well, no, because honestly, first, see, Miss Howard was my first probation officer. So she has a lot of information that Miss Matthews doesn't know about. It always was an arrangement. They say come and report on a Wednesday. But they say report Wednesday or Fridays. I have reported every Friday, but I never reported on Wednesday. And there never was a problem with that. They always approved that. I have been approved. I have a receipt from stepdaughter was in an accident, was in a hit and run accident in Savannah. She got hit by a car. She was in ICU. I couldn't make it. I told them. I called and I reported, and I was given permission to come the next week. Miss Matthews just received this case because of a situation with Miss Howell, where I honestly forgot about, not reporting on April because of COVID. It was my mistake, and I addressed it to Miss Matthews to let her know that, okay, it was a mistake. I apologize. It wasn't an issue. It was just a misunderstanding that no one clarified. With Miss Matthews, I understand where she's going with the whole probation situation or the community service down at Waypoint. When I got there 2 months ago, they told me that I had to have been paid my probation off 2 months before it was done, which didn't make sense to me, and I had lost my job. So I requested community service. When I got community service paper, I saw that it said Waypoint was a community service thing. My wife, Jamila, up to October, just so happened to be on the board of Waypoint. So yes, I inquired with her about that. Then we went through steps to do community service under the guidelines of Waypoint. So I have to ask her, like, did you at any time ever ask me anything about the community service? You just let me turn it in. With the paper, she let me turn the paper in, which I have to date, which has all the stuff on it. I turned the paper in 2, 3, 4 times, showing that I have done community service. She didn't say nothing then. She didn't say nothing. But I was supposed to get off of probation.
Ms. White.
I was supposed to get off probation, doing my community service hours, like the 23rd or whatever. So she didn't say nothing until the last day that she gonna try to present me with a subpoena. Which I was like, well, you just would have asked me anything, it could have been settled. I just feel that if she had been done, or she just trying to entrap me to put me in jail for no reason, because I comply with everything.
All right. Mr. Tolbert, I'm going to grant your unstated request for me to conduct this hearing in an out-of-order manner. I'm going to take all the statements that you just made as your testimony during your defense, and therefore I'm going to go ahead and call that this part. I've asked you twice to ask Ms. Matthews questions. You've not asked her a single question, so I'm going to call this your testimony. So I'm going to ask you, that document that I've just passed down to you, is that the document that you say you turned in?
Yes.
Okay. All right, pass that back up, please. I'm going to mark that as, pass it over to the table, please. Okay, thank you, Mr. Stoller. All right. I'm going to mark, this has been presented to me prior to today's hearing, and I'm going to mark it up here at the top with my own markings. This as states Exhibit 1. Okay. All right. Ms. Matthews, anything else?
Judge, I did fail to mention when Miss Jamila came in the office, I did inquire about her relationship to Mr. Tolbert. Her response to me was that she was a family friend, and then she came back into the office without Mr. Tolbert that same day I'd had the opportunity to go to Facebook and research her name. Once I did that, I saw a wedding picture of the two of them. When she came back in, I inquired with her again her relationship to Mr. Tolbert. She then again stated to me that she was a family friend. I took my phone and showed it to her, and I'm like, Miss Jamila, you're not his wife. Her statement to me was then that they had not filed their marriage license, so therefore she did not qualify herself as his wife.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Matthews. Anything else, Mr. Tolbert?
No, sir.
Is this lady that she's discussing your friend or your wife?
This is my wife.
Okay. All right. I'm going to call Sandra Brownlee to the stand.
Elaine Brownlee.
And your occupation.
I am the CEO and volunteer at Blue Point Veteran Service Center, Discovering Soldiers' Potential.
All right. So, are you familiar with Mr. Tolbert at all?
No.
All right. I'm going to present to you what the state has provided to me prior to the beginning of this hearing. COVID makes all these hearings a little bit disjointed. So this is State's Exhibit 1. It is a document that I think appears to have your signature. You tell me.
That's not my signature, Judge, I'm sorry.
Okay. So, it appears to have multiple times for your signature. Are any of those on that document your signature?
No.
Okay. Are you familiar with any of the information that's on that document?
No. I've never seen this document. I don't, so just like as a CEO, when we first started the nonprofit, we had decided we would allow veterans and non-veterans to do community service there. And so getting with the probation officer, we did our signature cards. At that time, I was doing the community service because we were new, but I have not done community service in about a year and a half. Mr. Stevens does the community service, and the only way you can get on that roster to do community service is going through him on a Wednesday, and he assigning you time and frame for you to come in and do your community service. I don't know, I've never met Mr. Tolbert, and I don't know anything about the sheet until I've seen it, and that is not my signature. I wouldn't give someone authorization to sign my signature. I would give you authorization to sign for me, but I would never.
That was my next question is, have you given anyone authority to sign your signature with express permission?
No.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want me to know?
I just don't understand this.
Okay.
I mean, I think that Ms. Upton's a good person. She's always been a good person, and she was on my board of directors. But I just don't understand this. It's still confusing me why this even happened. It was unnecessary.
At this point, I've got the information I'm looking for from you. Mr. Tolbert, of course, has the right to cross-examine you and ask you questions. He chose not to ask Ms. Matthews any questions, but he may have some questions for you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. Now, my wife told me that she asked you about community service or about the community service, and you said on the phone when we talked to you that you gave her permission to sign use your name. You said that you have.
Hold on. You asked her a question and she started to answer it. So
okay.
This is the time where you be quiet and you let her answer the question you asked. Go ahead.
It would be asinine of me to give someone permission to put my signature on anything. That is the reason why you have your signature. I may as well give you my bank account and my mortgage. I would never allow someone to do that. I allow my board members to sign for me. I'm only one person. I'm all over the place.
Right.
But they all know that when they sign for me, they don't sign my signature. They sign their signature because they're signing for me because I'm not there.
Okay, well, is it true that you say that you give people permission to sign? So that they might sign your name on there?
For me, not my signature.
Have you ever clarified that? Did you clarify that for you or sign your name? Have people signed your name before?
Never.
Never?
If they did it illegally.
Never. That you never know about?
They have never signed my signature.
But you have given people permission to sign things?
I've given people to sign for me, yes.
So is there in lost in translation, did anyone have took that for signing your name?
I will tell you with all sincerity, I do not believe anyone would misconstrue signing for someone and then actually signing that person's signature. I perfected that signature so I would not allow someone to copy that signature. That wouldn't make sense to anyone. I don't know how you can mistake that, but It could happen, I'm sure.
So then last week, did you say that you would have given her permission to do that?
To sign my
When we-
signature?
When we talked to you, did you say that you forgot?
I would never forget to allow somebody to sign my signature.
Did you say that you forgot? Is that your statement that you said last week when we called you?
No, sir.
No?
I have never given anyone permission to
Really?
sign my signature.
I mean, on
Sign for me, yes.
God, under oath.
I have raised my
Under oath.
Okay, hold on.
Under oath.
Hold on.
You
Hey,
really
Mr.
gonna say
Tolbert,
no?
Mr. Tolbert, this is not your
Yeah.
courtroom. You will not
But you
interrupt.
just gave me-
Mr. Tolbert, you will not interrupt me when I'm running my courtroom. This is not your courtroom, and you will listen when I'm speaking. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
You have interrupted me consistently as we have had this hearing.
What? I'm
And
sorry.
I am responsible
I'm
for
sorry.
conducting this courtroom in an orderly and professional manner, and I'm going to do that with or without you.
I'm
Do
sorry.
you understand me?
My apologies, Your Honor.
When I speak,
I'm not trying to disturb
you be quiet and listen.
Okay.
I will be quiet when it is your turn to speak, and I will listen to you intently. And I have done that at every stage of this, and you have repaid that by interrupting me every time I've tried to run this courtroom.
My apologies again.
Okay? Do not do it again.
Okay.
This witness has a right to answer your questions, and
Okay.
she has a right to finish that answer.
Yes, sir.
You have a right to ask her questions. You have a constitutional right to ask her questions, and I am desperately trying to protect your constitutional rights. And you are getting in the way of that.
I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
Okay, this matter that you've asked about the signature has been scrubbed clean. You need to find a new topic to ask about, Mr. Tolbert. So, if you have a different topic you would like to ask her about, I will give you that opportunity. But do not ask her any more questions about the signature that has been asked and answered, and I'm closing that line of questioning. Ask your next question.
I had nothing else to say.
Okay. Do you want to take a minute, Mr. Tolbert? Take a couple of deep breaths and see if you can think of any more questions before I release this witness. Take a few minutes, take a few breaths, see if you have another question for this witness.
I just have a question of why you recanting what you said on the phone.
Okay, that question has already been asked and answered. You're welcome to move to a new topic.
But there's nothing else more to say.
Okay. If you're telling me that you have asked all the questions on the subjects you wish to ask, I am going to release this witness. Do you have any other questions for Ms. Brown?
No, I have nothing.
All right, then you may step down. Thank you. You have the right at this moment to do what's called a closing argument. It's just where you sum up the case and tell me why I shouldn't revoke your probation. Would you like to do a closing argument?
Yes, sir. Sure.
All right, so lean into the microphone and tell me why I shouldn't revoke 35 days in Spalding County Jail.
Well, sir, like I told you, honestly, I'm a good person. I don't have a record, like a very bad record. Like this is suspended license and obstruction. You know, which is, just, situation happened. I didn't know, even with that situation. I planned on paying this whole thing off. When Ms. Howell told me that y'all want to pay 2 months in advance early or something like that, that threw me off. Like, that would threw me the whole case off. I was like, why y'all make somebody pay 2 months? Because I planned on paying it off. But
Are you talking about the finish within 10 months instead of 12?
yeah,
Okay, that's me. I said that I wanted time to, just to help you answer that question, I said that I wanted everybody to finish what they needed to do within 10 months so that if there was an issue, I would have 60 days to respond and correct or address or modify or whatever.
Oh, okay.
That's my policy because it gives me 60 days at the end of somebody's probation to waive the fees or whatever.
I never knew that at the beginning.
Well, I mean, she told you the policy, I'm telling you the why. So, all right, go ahead, Mr. Tolbert.
But yeah, so but she I found it out too that day, and I didn't know. So I made a rash decision to do community service. And like I told you, like when I saw Waypoint was on it, I was like, okay, well, I went there and I made the decision to ask and inquire about the Waypoint of community service. Which, like I said, my wife told me that, we this, and like we went and did everything, and I'm just thinking the situation was handled, because she's on the board, and like I'm willing to pay, if I could pay it, I wouldn't pay it today. Or like to get it out of the way, because if that were the case, I wouldn't have never got off of it. And I just would have, I would have got it paid by, the end. That's the thing, but it just threw me off because I lost the job. And so I was like, well, I can work, I can do community service, because I'm not working right now. And that's the only issue. Miss Matthews, I've had good rapport with Miss Matthews. And so, like I said, I don't understand why she even was thinking I'm trying to, do something sneaky or messed up, but honestly, I wasn't. And like I say, you just like I apologize for the courtroom. I'm not used to this. I don't do court and jail.
It's all right. We talked it through, got back on the same page, and
like again,
got back on it.
but I'm good people, and I'm jail right now is just not. I don't want to go to jail, and nobody want to go to jail.
Sure.
But we come with anything other than jail, revoking, or just let me finish it out or something. There's our asset on the court to do that. But like I said, I'm good people. I'm not. I hate having Miss Sandra and Mr. Richard in here, and just the whole situation. It's one of those that I just wish just didn't have to go this way, or didn't even have to come to this today.
Sure.
Then out of that, just
Or anything else, Mr. Tolbert?
no sir.
Ms. Matthews, any other closing remarks before I make my decision?
Judge, I would just say that it's clear that Ms. Jamila was not authorized to sign. It's clear that no one else has ever received this many hours per week from Waypoint. So this defendant has been shown favoritism, and I believe that's not fair to anyone else if they're going to state that these hours are true. And they seem to have avoided all the proper channels and people that are in place to avoid any situation like this to occur. There's a contract in place. Ms. Brownlee, Mr. Stevens followed that contract. They're aware of that contract. And again, that's why the contract with the court is in place, so we don't have these situations. And the defendant does not find himself in the situation that Mr. Tolbert.
Today is whether or not he has violated his probation. The standard is by preponderance of the evidence, which is essentially for lack of a better term, 51% instead of a proof beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest standard under the law. So therefore, I find that there is a sufficient amount of evidence for me to find by preponderance of the evidence that Mr. Tolbert has violated. For the record, there are two violations that I'm considering. Number one, failure to report as ordered. Mr. Tolbert denied that allegation, and there was testimony in the record that he missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 report dates. Much more important, though, is number two, in that he provided 39, there's an allegation of 49, but 39 is what's on the paperwork, community service work hours that could not be verified. I find that the testimony of the witnesses, starting with Ms. Brownlee, is that State's Exhibit 1, which was presented to me prior to the hearing today, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Sandra Brownlee signatures on this matter. Ms. Brownlee reviewed State's Exhibit 1 and testified without equivocation. Those are not her signature, and that she did not give anyone permission to sign her signature. There's also the testimony from Mr. Richard Stevens, who is in charge of the community service work at Waypoint, who testified that he also did not approve these hours. And then finally, Ms. Jamila Tolbert, Jameelah, and now Tolbert, as they are married, testified that this was her responsibility, that this was her fault, and that she did not follow the proper procedures. I also find that there was testimony from Ms. Matthews in trying to investigate this thing, that she did talk to Miss Tolbert, and that she did initially say that she was a friend of Mr. Tolbert's, even though she was his wife. I'm going to find that our system is in place that without prior notice you cannot reasonably foresee the criminal acts of third parties. And so I'm going to find no fault to Waypoint whatsoever, and I wanted that to be on the record, and I wanted that to be very clear that Waypoint is approved, Ms. Matthews, to continue providing community service work. I also am going to find, pivoting to Mr. Tolbert, that I do see, despite the protestations, I do see a very clear intention of Mr. Tolbert to avoid the proper channels. Despite his wife's testimony that this is her responsibility, she is not the probationer, and Mr. Tolbert carries the 100% sole responsibility of ensuring that his probation is 100% in compliance. I also just need to note for the record that my mentor and previous state court judge, Sid Essery, bumped into this issue regularly. He got so sick and tired of these hearings that by the time he retired, all that was allowed was for the probationers to gather in a group on a Saturday and pick up cans on the side of the road, and that way you had one officer signing off on all of it. Because he just got sick and tired of these hearings. And I told him that I thought he was being a curmudgeon, and that we could trust people, and that people would make the right choices. Every time I have one of these hearings, I hear Judge Essery in the back of my mind telling me that this is why he did what he did. Because anytime you give people a system, there will be a small percentage of people who will, in my opinion, intentionally not follow the system. Therefore, I am going to respond in the harshest way I can, because I want to make certain that anyone who watches this video and everybody sees out there, that if you had come to me, Mr. Tolbert, and said, I'm having a difficult time getting my community service work done, we would have extended it. If you said, I can't pay my supervision fees, I could have waived it. If you had gone to Waypoint and said, hey, I'm not certain we're following the right procedure, we probably could have talked that through. But the fact that you found a community service work provider that your family was going to supervise you on is, to me, a huge red flag that any reasonable person would have immediately said, this is not a correct procedure. It would be no more correct than if my wife got a speeding ticket out in the county and I presided over her trial. That immediately fails the smell test. Anyone looking at it would immediately go, well, there's no way Judge Thacker can reasonably and impartially make the guilt or innocence decision on his own wife. There's no way I can trust that your family is properly doing this. So I don't know how else to say that any longer, but the fact of the matter is that you lied to me. You lied to Waypoint, and you and your family intentionally and willfully and knowingly sidestepped my system and their system that they signed off on to give you hours that you did not deserve. The lying is what gets my blood boiling. And so with that, I'm going to revoke every single inch of your probation that I can. So let me be very clear. If you had 720 days left, I would absolutely revoke 720 days and never look back. Sadly, for me, I only have 35 days left. But guess what? Your probation is revoked for 35 days, and you're going to spend the next 35 days in the Spalding County Jail. You may go with the deputies. You have 30 days from today if you wish to appeal my decision.